To my channel. So in the last video I had demonstrated the use of Mongo DB in a web application. So I had created a basic web application that uses Express, Node.js, ESLint, and Mongo as a backend. Today I'm back with another implementation. It is addition of Redis to the existing code. So basically I've used Redis for session management. So every video we start with why Redis or why Mongo, right? So last time I had described why would you use MongoDB over relational databases, what are the advantages of MongoDB over the relational database. Likewise, why do we use Redis, right? So first of all, what is Redis? So Redis is basically a in-memory database. It is an open source database, which makes it really helpful. And in addition to using it as a database, you can use it as a cache, a message broker as well. It is highly performant, as in if your code or if your application requires it requires a low latency, or say if you want the data very fast, like say your shopping applications, or any other banking applications, like say in that case you can use Redis for your session management. So what are the other use cases that you can use session management for? Like I've shared in the screen, so I've jotted down a couple of points. If you have multiple servers, like say you are doing your shopping on Amazon, and a session is created and you put multiple products into your cart, right? Now this piece of data might be available across multiple servers. Obviously you wouldn't have everything in one server, right? So that's the point of Mongo or any other database, so to say, apart from relational, that it allows you to be available in multiple clusters. Now since since this is an in-memory database and it allows you to do all of everything faster, it can also help you to give data in a particular session to your multiple servers. Like you did so many things, you put these many items into your cart. Okay, this data is being sent to one server, can be processed by one of the server. Another server also can look up the Redis database and pick the data whatever is necessary, right? So that is one of the use case. Second thing is, if performance is critical, so you need very fast reads and writes in your session. In that case also you can use Redis. You can also have centralized control. So there's something called as TTL, which is time to live in Redis. So basically what you can do is every key can have an expiration date. Like say you might have visited certain applications, government applications, wherein your session is 30 minutes or 40 minutes, right? So in that case, how do you do it? How do you make sure that this particular session is only active for 40 minutes? So your Redis helps you with it. You can just configure it, you can create it in such a way, you can use TTL, that hey, this key is valid only for 40 minutes. Excuse me. So after this it gets expired and you'll be sent back to your home page. Next is high traffic. If your application has very high traffic, then also Redis can be used. So let's, now that we know about when and what, let's just dive into how the application looks like and what are the changes that we did. So this is the application. You might be familiar with it if you've already watched my last video. And let me just go to seller. As usual, like the last video, it asks you if you're a registered seller. Yes, I am a registered seller. And right now I'll just put some dummy ID seller that I created. Submit. Now you can see that there's a certain excuse me, certain session that's created, which is like 51 seconds. What will happen if I if I go back to home page now, accidentally the seller might have clicked on the home page and he just authenticated himself. But what would happen in that case? Would he be requested? Should he be requested to be authenticated again, though the session is active? So no, right? So you wouldn't want a particular person to get authenticate himself every time. So instead, when you click on seller, it will likely move on to your seller page. And if you, I've kept this as 1 minute, so ideally probably you could have a session that's 30 or 45 minutes long, or you can have it more too. That does not matter, depends on the use case. Now if you see 0, it says it's expired and just goes to the home page. Now the seller has to authenticate himself again and then continue. While this is a very basic use case that I have described, you can do much more. You can add a logout page. Also make sure that a pop-up is put up in the screen asking if your session is going to expire. Do you want to refresh it? So you have to also make sure that since the data goes from client to server and not from server to client, we have to kind of put in a certain logic that would help us to do that. Probably I'll do that in the next video or upcoming days, but this is the basic idea of what is being done right now. So to show you the code, how is it done, here is my code. If I go to app.js, so I've used Redis connect Redis for the session. So it's a middleware that can be used, that can be integrated with the existing stuff, so which would help us to do session management. So if you see here, require connect Redis session, this is a Redis store that's created, and I'm connecting to Redis store in my session, and a cookie is also created which has a max age of 60 into 1000, which is 1 minute. This is in terms of milliseconds, so the particular session would be active for 1 minute, which is then used across, right? So if you see here, session required or session dot message and all of that. So I'll link this GitHub link in the description box, and you guys can have a look at it. And yeah, that is about it. And if you want to look at the routes, so there are certain modifications that I've done to routes. Okay, let me just go through it. Okay, if you see here, we saw that the session gets created when the seller gets authenticated. So what we do is, if seller exists, if check seller is this is a function within MyDB which hits the MongoDB, and it will send you the response. If the seller exists, only then, if seller exists, then create a session. Request or session dot seller equal to, that particular session would have all this value in it. Okay, ID, email, name. We can check if this is actually created. Let me just go and I don't know if I have it open. Let me open Docker Hub. I don't know if Redis Insight is open. Okay, here it is. If I just keys star, have so many keys in here, but okay, the one that I created got expired. Let me just create one more session. Okay, now a particular key would have been created. Keys dot star, this would list all the keys that are existing in Redis. Let me just search for any session. Okay, there you go. So if you see that there's a session that's created, let me just search that session in here. Okay, there you go. 19 seconds left. This is the time that is left for this session to be active, or this key. And it has cookie, total age, and it has ID, email, and name, right? So that's where it's created. This is the part where it gets created. And if you notice, how do I get so if you see here, initially it just gets redirected to references. Now there's one more thing. If at all we go back to home page, it should not ask for redirection again, right? So where have I done that? So it'll be available in seller options if you check that. So this is a this code. You can have a look if you would like to. And that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye bye.